And we are live. Welcome back with Murphy Mac to another episode of the Fitness Beginner Podcast, where we help you get started on your fitness journey. What is up, folks? I hope y'all are having a great day today, and I hope you get your week started off right. Um, we are at episode 190. This is episode 190. That's crazy. We're getting on up there. We've been doing this podcast thing for a while now. We're almost at episode 200. We're 10 episodes away from the big. Whoa, hold on. I'm getting some feedback. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. Sorry. Having some technical difficulties. But yeah, we're almost at the big 200. I feel like I need to do something for the 200th episode. I need to do something special. I don't know. If y'all got any ideas, y'all let me know down in the comments. What should I do for the big 200th episode? I'll have to think of something. I'll have to be thinking about that. Y'all let me know if y'all got any ideas. I want to do something cool for the podcast and just I can't believe we're making it this far. I can't. Like when I started this podcast, I really didn't have many intentions with it. I didn't know where it would take me or what I would do with it. And I definitely didn't know that I'd be almost 200 episodes in. So, yeah, that's a lot. And I only do one episode a week. So that means we've been doing this for a while now. And it's been a little over 3 years, I guess. There's 52 weeks in a year. So 2 years would be 204 episodes. So, okay, maybe not. Maybe not 3 years. I may be wrong. Wait, no, that's 104. I'm tripping, not 204. 152, so that's 104. So we almost been doing it. So at 208, that'll be 4 years that we've been doing it. So we're almost at 4 years. When we have in 18 episodes, it'll be 4 years. So 18 weeks from now. Yeah. Yeah, we get on up there. All right, enough rambling. Today's podcast topic is going to be about something that happened to me. I like getting on here and talking to y'all about things that happen in my personal life because I have a story that goes along with it, and I can tell y'all my story and how it affected me and what I did to, overcome or what I did about the situation, because I think y'all can kind of relate better when there's like a story around it. So a lot of times when I don't have my own experience with it, I can't really put too much of my own personal opinion on it because I don't, I didn't experience it myself. There's still a lot of episodes I've done that way too, but I like when it's something that's relevant and something that's happened recently because I can talk about it. And hopefully y'all will get something from this. And I know y'all definitely experience what I experienced this week and what we're going to talk about today because it's so common and it happens to everybody. And that thing is your things don't go as planned. Like your schedules change a lot because, we have a typical week laid out. We always, plan our week out. We have a schedule. And a lot of times things change. Like your schedule don't go the way you had it planned. And that's just life. Like the life throws things at you. If you got kids, your schedule probably changes a lot with your kids. Your kid gets sick and you got to stay home from work one day to take care of your kid. That happens. That's part of life. Or I don't know, you got to go to a doctor's appointment or something. I don't know. Something always changes. Something comes up. There's always stuff going on in life. And that's part of it. Like, so you got to know that going into it. You got to learn to be flexible. You got to learn how to pivot because things like this are going to come up. And this is what happened to me this week. So I want to talk about what to do when your schedule changes, kind of how to go about it, how you can, change things around and still, stick to your fitness goals when things change. And I also want to talk about a standard. So you got to create a standard for yourself. And when things change, you're going to want to, kind of slack off a little bit on that standard. But you can't do that. You got to hold yourself accountable to that standard that you made for yourself. So we're going to talk a little bit about that in today's podcast as well. If you saw my short that I posted today, I kind of talked a little bit about it, but I didn't get enough time to, really dive deep into it. And that's what we're going to do on the podcast today. So, y'all already know life doesn't go according to plan. It changes a lot, but your standards still can. Like your standards can still go to plan, even though your schedule changes. Life don't always go as planned. So we're going to talk about how to pivot your schedule when things go wrong, without abandoning your fitness goals. So that's critical there. We got to do it without abandoning fitness goals. Another key thing to think of is discipline is not proven when things go right. It's easy when things go right. When it goes according to plan, it makes things a lot easier. And your discipline, is not really tested. It's pretty easy to be disciplined when things go right. But you really prove your discipline when things go wrong. That's when you're really tested. When things go wrong, are you going to show up? Are you going to be disciplined? That's when you really find out what you're made of, is when things go wrong. So I'm going to tell y'all my story. Actually, I guess I can weed it in a little bit on each one of these segments. So segment one, we're going to talk about why plans fail and why that's normal. It's just basic life interruptions. You get life interruptions all the time. You have work emergencies, you have family emergencies, family obligations you got to deal with. You got, getting sick. You got travel if you're going on vacation or if you got to go out of town for work. You just get caught up in mental fatigue. There's so many just life interruptions that we experience on a weekly basis. So the problem isn't that plans fail. The problem is when your standards fail with those plans. So if your plans fail, that's okay. We can change our schedule. We can shift our goals around. Like, we can shift things around. You can move your workouts around. You can move your meals around. Like, that's not the problem. The problem is when you let your standards fail, and you don't hold yourself accountable to those standards when things do change. That's the problem. So if you're going to be successful at this fitness journey, then you can't rely on perfect weeks. Because, come on, perfect weeks are far and few within. So you're not always going to get a perfect week. So don't rely on that if you want to be, successful in this whole fitness journey. But you can rely on your non-negotiables, like your standards you set for yourself. You can rely on those. And then we're going to talk more about that throughout the podcast. So segment 2, what does it mean to have a personal standard? So a standard is a rule that you live by, you, not everybody else, not everybody, not your family, not your kids, not your friends, your coworkers, you, what you live by. It's not a mood, it's a standard that you live by. It's not a mood, because we all have different moods. Things are going to change, but if we have a standard, that don't change. That's a rule that you live by. So don't think of it as motivation. Motivation can change. You're going to be motivated some days and not motivated some days. But standards are kind of like a contract with yourself. Think of it that way. Like, when you set a standard for yourself, that's a contract that you made with yourself. Now you got to stick to that contract. You can't break the rules of the contract. Another good thing with standards is it takes out a lot of the decisions when it comes to your standards, because if you know what your standards are and you stick to those, then that pretty much is your answer. Like, whatever that decision is, you got to make the decision that's right for you and your standards. So it's kind of like the choice is already made. You don't really have to think about it. Like, whatever goes to your contract that you made with yourself, to your standard, that's the choice that you make. So for an example, a standard that you could have. Actually, I'll give my example. I'll give you some examples, and I'll give you my example of what happened to me this week. So, like, for example, I train at least 4 times per week, no matter what. That could be your standard. Or I never miss twice. That's actually my standard that I made for myself. I'm going to talk to you in just a second. If I can't do my full workout, I can still do something. That's a good standard. Or I move my body daily. That could be the standard. It could be as simple as going for a walk daily, working out, whatever. So for my example, this week, what happened to me was I missed my normal workout on Monday. And that was okay. So my standard for me is I can never miss two training days. Now, obviously, if I have an off day, I'm not counting my off days. Those are off days. I mean my actual days that I have planned to train. I never allow myself to miss 2 days in 1 week. That's my standard. 1 day is okay. 1 day is cool. I can miss 1 day and I don't have to make it up. If I have time to make it up, like a different day or something, I will make it up. Or I'll go an afternoon or something if I can. But if I can't for some reason, then it's, oh well, no big deal. I'll take the day off. Sometimes I need a day off. So that's 1 day is not a problem. But 2 days is not acceptable. That's my standard that I hold for myself. I'm never going to miss 2 days a week. I will make it up somehow. I'll make up that workout. That's my standard for me. Now, I'm not saying should be your standard. I'm not saying this is what you need to do, but this is just the one that I made for myself. This is my contract that I made with myself. I'm never going to miss 2 workouts in a week. And that's what happened to me this week. So I missed my workout Monday, and then Saturday I was supposed to get up and run and go to run club. But for some reason I laid back down in the bed and fell back asleep, and I didn't wake up in time to go to run club. Well, then I woke up Saturday and we got busy and we started doing things. We went to the grocery store. Went to my grandparents' house. I got busy doing things Saturday, so I didn't do my workout Saturday. And then it got late at night, so I was like, oh well, I didn't get my workout in today, but I'm not missing 2 days this week. So I'm getting up in the morning and I'm going for my run in the morning. So that's what I did. I got up on Sunday, which is today when I'm filming this. I got up today and I ran to make up for my workout on Saturday. Because that's the non-negotiable for me. Like, it wasn't acceptable for me to miss 2 days this week. So I did it on Sunday. Like, I adjusted, I pivoted my schedule. I changed it because normally Sunday is my off day. That's normally my off day. And this week, so instead of having my off day on Sunday, I just had my off day on Saturday. So I just switched the two around. Like, it's pretty simple. It's a pretty easy fix there. It's not very hard, but I wasn't going to allow myself to miss Saturday and then turn around and still take off Sunday, because that's just the rules that I made for myself. And that was a simple fix. And you could do the same thing. You can move workouts to different days. You can move things around. You can swap them out. Just as long as you're sticking to the standard that you set for yourself, that's the whole goal here. Like, that's the thing. And there's reasons why you want to do that. We'll get into more of those throughout the podcast of why you want to make sure you're sticking to these standards. Because, we'll get into it as we go. But yeah, that's what happened to me. I missed a workout Monday, and that's okay. So I did miss one day this week. That's cool. And I missed Saturday, but I made it up on Sunday. So technically, I only missed one workout this week. So that aligns with my standard for myself. That's okay. So moving on to segment 3, how to create your own standard. Well, first off, you got to define your goal. Like, define your identity of who you are, or define what the goal is that you're trying to achieve. Define what the outcome is that you want. Like, figure out what this goal is or whatever it is you're trying to achieve. Like, figure this out and identify that. For example, it could be, I am somebody who takes care of my body. That could be your identity, or it could be a goal like, I'm going to work out, 4 times a week. Or it could be something as simple as, I'm going to read my book for 10 minutes every day. It could be something like that, like something simple. Or I'm going to eat, at least one bowl of fruit every day. I don't know. It could be something simple like that. Like, whatever your goal is that you're working towards, define that and get clear on it. And then what you want to do is choose your non-negotiables around whatever that goal is. Now, don't make it something ridiculous that you can't stick to. It's got to be actually like realistic, Choose these non-negotiables. So, if it's workouts, how many workouts do you want to do per week? Like, say 4 workouts a week, that's your non-negotiable. You have to hit it point blank, period. For me, it's 5 workouts for me, but I know that's not realistic for most people. Minimum, it could be a minimum protein. Like, today, I need at least 100 grams of protein every day, period. That's my non-negotiable. I got to hit it no matter what. Or it could be steps. Like, I got to hit 7,000 steps every single day, period. That's my non-negotiable. And you get it done, point, no matter what. So set a floor, not a ceiling. Set a floor, not just like the ceiling. Set a minimum number that you got to hit. Or whatever the goal is, set the minimum for that goal, and that's your non-negotiable. Like, you have to do that every day, or whatever the day, on the day that you have it planned, you have to do it. So think of like your ceiling is like an ideal day. So like for steps, a ceiling is like 10,000 steps. That'd be a great ceiling. That's a great goal to aim for. That's your ideal day. But the floor is worst case scenario, like worst case of your day. That's your standard day. You have to hit, say, 7,000 steps or 5,000, whatever it is for you. It's going to be different for everybody. So don't use my examples. Use it for yourself. So like, at minimum, worst day possible, your floor is 5,000. That's what you have to hit. No questions asked. And then your, say, ceiling is 10,000. That's your goal. You want to hit 10,000 a day. That's your ideal. So think of it that way, your floor and a ceiling. You can use that for whatever your goal is. And then you want to try to make that goal measurable so you can, measure it and see your results. So don't make it vague. Don't just say, oh, I'm going to work out more. Say, I'm going to work out 3 times a week minimum. Like, that's my floor, 3 times a week. That's my non-negotiable. I have to hit 3 workouts a week. So use that because that's measurable. You can measure how many workouts you did. Say, I did 2 workouts this week. Oh, well, I missed my goal by 1. Or I did 4 workouts. I beat my goal by 1. So make it measurable. Write it down if you have to. Put it in the notes in your phone if you have to. Say it out loud if that helps you. Say it out loud daily, like a kind of like an affirmation type deal. And then track it, track your progress. That's always a good thing as well. So segment number 4, how to pivot when life disrupts your schedule. Because this is going to happen to us all the time. It's going to happen. You're going to adjust your schedule. So this is where most people fail. They think that if they miss their plan this week, their normal plan, then that whole week is a fail. That's not the case. Missing one workout or switching your workouts around, not following the plan to a T, that does not mean you just lose altogether or you failed altogether. You just got to shift some things around. You can still do it. So you got to shift your mindset a little bit. Don't take one little setback or one little missed workout or whatever. Don't let that throw you off your whole entire plan, like your whole entire week. Just because you missed one workout don't mean you lost the whole entire week. So ask yourself this, or don't ask when you miss a workout, don't ask yourself this. Don't say, can I still follow the plan? Instead, ask yourself this: how can I still meet my standard? So say, for example, you didn't get a lot of steps in today. You sat down on the couch all day and you're only at 2,000 steps, but your minimum, your non-negotiable, your floor is 5,000 steps. Ask yourself, how can I still meet these 5,000 steps? You know what I'm saying? So that's just an example. So how, instead of saying, can I still do it? Say, how can I do it? Like figure out how am I going to do this? Well, how am I going to hit my floor for the day? Like how am I going to hit that non-negotiable? So some good tips for pivoting for your strategy, pivoting when things like, I'm going to give you some examples. So there's a time swap. So think of the time swap. For me, I work out in the morning, my morning workout. So guess what? If I miss a morning workout, well, an easy way I can pivot is I can swap the time that I work out. So instead of training in the morning, well, maybe I have enough time at lunch. I can go train at lunch. Or I can train in the afternoon when I get off of work. I can swap the time. So you have a time swap. That's one trick or one strategy. Another strategy is shortening the time period. So like say you normally work out for an hour, 60 minutes. You normally work out. Well, say today you don't have a lot of time, but you do have 20 minutes. Well, instead of getting a full 60-minute workout in, do your 20-minute workout. Like work out for 20 minutes. Yeah, it's not going to be the full workout, but it's better than nothing. It's a pivot. It's kind of a strategy to switch it up because that way you still kind of worked out. You still did 20 minutes. It's better than nothing. So that's one. So you can do the time swap or you can do shorten the time period, like compression if you want to put it that way. You could do a substitution. So another strategy is substitution. So say, for example, today the gym is closed and you can't go to the gym or you can't access the gym for whatever reason. Well, guess what? You can still do body weight workouts. You can do it at home in your living room or outside in your yard. You can do a body weight workout. You can go for a run. You can substitute the workout some way. You can do something different. So you're still getting the exercise in. You're just substituting it for something else, like a different style of working out or body weight or whatever. If you normally go to a class and the class is canceled that day, well, maybe you should just work out at the gym instead of doing the class, or pull up a class on YouTube in your living room and watch it and do it in your living room. So that's another strategy. Another one is a split session. So this one is not as convenient because it makes it 2 different times. But say, I don't know, normally you do a 30-minute walk every day. But today you don't have a full 30-minute block, a full 30-minute time period. Well, say you split that time in half, 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes in the afternoon, or whenever you get a 15-minute break. Or it could be 10, 10, and 10. If I got 10 minutes here, I'll go walk. And then later in the day, I'll find another 10 minutes. I'll go walk then. And then 10 minutes later in the day. So you could do that. So you could split it up. That's a split session. Another strategy is a priority strategy. So focus, like say, for example, in a workout, focus only on your main lifts or your main muscle groups. So if you had, say, for example, you had a full body workout plan today, but you're running short on time or you're having to change things up, well, maybe you just do your lagging body parts. Like say I need to really work on my chest. Well, my chest and my back. Well, I'm just going to do chest and back today. That's all I'm going to do. So you could focus on the priority, whatever it is that you're training for. Like if you're training for a race, some kind of running race, well, just do a sprint workout that day instead of doing, your training session and the workout or whatever. So priority training, only do what the priority is for you at that time. That's priority. That's the priority strategy. You could do, so another strategy is like, I guess they call it micro workouts, is do like simple things like push-ups, squats, planks, and just do them throughout your day. Like if say you don't have time to actually do a full workout, Like if you're at work or something, you could just, hey, if you had like, I don't know, a minute or so, just knock out some push-ups real quick. And then later on, when you get another minute or so, hit some air squats real quick, or, hit a plank real quick, or hit some jumping jacks, or I don't know, just little tiny workouts throughout your day. Yeah, you're not getting a full workout in, you're not getting a bunch of sets in and all that, but it's better than nothing, getting a little bit in throughout your day is still a pretty good thing. It's not your ideal lift. It's not ideal, but it's better than nothing. So you get like little mini workouts throughout the day, basically. And honestly, there's actually some research about these little mini workouts that are actually pretty beneficial. I haven't really done these myself, but you just like, say if you have a garage gym and you're at home, instead of going out there and getting a full workout in, you just go out there and you do one set of squats. And then later in the day, you'll come out and do one set of bench press, and then come out later in the day and do one set of pull-ups. So like, there's actually been some like research going on with these, and it actually shows some positive benefits that it actually works. So that could be another thing that you do. It's like a little mini workouts throughout the day. And the next strategy is reschedule. So instead of canceling it, reschedule it. That's what I did. So on Saturday I had a run. Well, I couldn't do it, but I didn't just cancel it altogether. I rescheduled it for Sunday. So that's the strategy I use. I just moved it to the next day. I rescheduled that workout. I moved it to an open slot. I had free time Monday morning before we went to church, so I did it then. I ran Sunday morning. So that's the reschedule strategy. That's honestly a good one that most people will probably use. Another thing you could do is redistribute your volume. So what do I mean by that? Like, say you missed a leg day. Say you miss a full leg workout. Well, the next day, instead of, just canceling your whole leg day, the next day, say it's chest, throw in one or two, sets of legs with your chest workout. So you're kind of redistributing that volume. Like, say you had chest, you're supposed to do legs today and chest tomorrow, but you missed today's workout. Well, tomorrow, instead of, not doing legs at all, do chest and legs. Like, cut your volume of chest in half and your leg volume in half, and put that workout together. Like, say you do 4 workouts of chest normally, and you do 4 workouts of legs. Well, cut those in half. Do 2 chest workouts and 2 leg workouts. That's kind of redistributing the volume. Most of the time, you don't just want to add on to the volume, because a lot of time it's not necessarily very beneficial for you. And you don't want to be in the gym all day. You don't want to do 4 chest and then 4 leg. You're going to be at the gym a long time. You could do that. It is a strategy. If you had the extra time, then yeah, you could do it, no problem. But if you still were short on time, you could just cut the volume in half and add it to your next workout. And then the last strategy I'm gonna leave you with is just the recovery strategy, just pivoting to a recovery day. So if you're sick or if you're exhausted, you had a long day, stressful day, instead of working out and going hard in the gym when you're probably not very strong, do some mobility work. Do some stretching, do some yoga, do some just something easy to, that way you still do something for the day. You're still working towards your goals. It's just you can't give 100% that day, and you need to let your body recover. Then throw in a mobility day, throw in some stretching, yoga, whatever it is that you need to do. Some foam rolling, some massaging your muscles out. Do something like that. So that way you're still better than nothing. You're still not just doing nothing for the day. You're still getting some out of it. Active recovery or recovery days are crucial. You still need to do these. That's why I take a day off every week. So that's my full recovery day. All right, we go to the next segment. Number 5 is the biggest mistake that people make. And this is they let one disruption, one hiccup, one change in their schedule, they let that turn into 2. And then that 2 turns into 3. And then that 3 turns into a week. And that week turns into a month. And then you quit. So it's like a chain reaction. 1 turns into 2, 2 turns to 3, so on and so on. That's what happens with most people. Like it's a chain reaction. You can't let one disruption, one schedule change, one missed workout ruin everything you've been working for. It's not about perfection. You're never going to be perfect. Nobody's perfect. You're going to miss a workout. You're going to have something's going to change. Like life just don't go as planned. So stop trying to be perfect and start trying to be consistent. Okay? Just be consistent. Like, whatever that standard of consistency that you set for yourself is, stick to that. Period. And that's like, you're not going to be perfect. You're not going to. So don't try to be. Don't confuse flexibility with weakness. You know what I'm saying? Because you didn't stick to your original plan. But if you're flexible, honestly, that shows a lot of strength to me. If you're flexible, say you missed a day and then you made it up the next day, like being flexible, that flexibility, that's like a sign of strength to me. That's a sign of, discipline, consistency. Like, that's a good thing. So don't let it be a bad thing. Think of it as a good thing. So your plans are gonna break. They're gonna change, but you can be flexible and you can adapt. You can do it. I promise. So segment number 6, the rule of standards versus feelings. So feelings are going to change daily. You're not going to have the same mood every day. Your feelings are going to change. You're not always going to be, in the same mood. But the thing about standards is they stay the same. They're constant. They're going to stay the same every day. So, or at least they should, and if you hold yourself to that standard. So if you only act when you feel like it, you're rarely gonna follow through on that, because you're probably not gonna feel like it most of the time. So if you're only acting when you feel like it, well, you're probably not gonna achieve that goal, if we're being honest. But if you act because that's the standard that you set for yourself, then you're more than likely gonna follow through, because that's the standard that you set for yourself, and you got to stick to that to hold yourself accountable and follow through with it. So that's the difference between feelings and standards. Feelings are going to change. You don't want to rely on feelings because they're not very reliable, because they're going to change. But standards should not change. They don't change. You should keep them the same. So standards versus feelings. So I want to ask yourself this, segment 7, I want you to ask yourself these questions. What is your fitness standard? Like, what is that standard for you? What's your goal? If your goal is to lose weight, what is your standard to help you lose weight? And make them realistic. Don't be crazy. Don't say my standard is 7 days a week at the gym, 2,000 calories every single day. Like, come on now, be realistic. What is your standard? And this don't even have to be fitness related. This could be for any goal that you're trying to achieve. What's your standard? Like, what are you going to hold yourself accountable to? What is that non-negotiable you set for yourself that you have to hit, every time, no matter what? Like, it's non-negotiable, point blank, period. You're going to get it done. And then is that standard written down somewhere? Did you write it down? Pull out your notes in your phone. I know everybody got a notes app, especially if you got an iPhone. I know you got a notes app. Write it down. Start you a list. Put your goal up there. Put your standard up there. Write down how you're going to get to that goal. Things like your non-negotiables. Put them on there. And then ask yourself this: are those goals, are those non-negotiables, are they measurable? Can you measure them? Because we want to be able to track them, to see our progress over time, to see if we're actually doing what we said we were going to do. So, and then what's your minimum? Like, what's that floor? What's the non-negotiable that you're going to do, every week or every day? This is going to depend on your goal, obviously. But like, if it's working out, set a standard for each week. I like a week because we think in weeks most of the time, or months, whatever. So what's that minimum for your week? How many times are you going to work out this week? How many times are you going to read your book this week? How many times are you going to, do yoga this week? How many times are you going to, if you're trying to work on a relationship, how many times are you going to go on a date with your spouse this week, or whatever? It could be anything like that. Whatever your goal is, what's your minimum? What's your floor, that non-negotiable number that you got to hit? And then also think about this. Try to plan ahead. Do you have a backup plan for those busy days, or the days that your schedule changes or something goes wrong? Is there a backup plan? Do you have a goal, or do you know how you're going to pivot and change if something happens? So it could be any of those strategies we talked about just a minute ago. It could be like the reschedule strategy, or the strengthen your time strategy, or the volume, what did I say? The redistribution strategy, whatever the ones we talked about earlier. Which one of those you're going to use to kind of pivot when something goes wrong? So I want to leave you with this. Don't stop letting your schedule determine your success. You need to let your standard determine your success, because schedules are going to change. That's just life. but your standard don't. And if you hold yourself accountable to that standard, then that's going to help you work towards that goal and get closer and closer each and every day. So anybody can be consistent when life is smooth, when things go as planned, when everything falls in line like it's supposed to. You're following the plan to a T. Everybody can be consistent when things are like that. But how often does that really happen? How often does life go smooth? How often does everything fall into place like you planned it out to be? Not very often, probably, for most people. So if you want to be successful, you're going to have to learn how to be consistent in life, even when it's chaotic, or even when things change, or even when things don't go as planned. You got to learn how to be consistent during that. And that's what's going to make you, be successful in whatever that goal is you're trying to achieve. So don't lower your standard when life gets hard. Learn how to adapt, how to pivot, how to be, raise your ability to adapt, adaptability, I guess that's a word. You got to learn to pivot and be flexible. Don't just lower your standard because you had one off day or one bad week, whatever. Because if you start allowing yourself to miss these days, to not do what you said you were going to do, to not hold yourself to the standard, you're going to stop believing in yourself. Your word is one of the most powerful things that you have, especially to yourself. Because if you tell yourself you're going to do one thing and then you don't do it, it's almost like you lied to yourself. And eventually you're going to stop believing in yourself. You're going to stop believing what you're telling yourself you're going to do. And this is not a good thing because you're not building that confidence up in yourself. And you will just, you'll lose faith in yourself because you just keep saying, I'm going to do these things, I'm going to achieve these goals or whatever, and you're not following through. And when that happens, it starts to become the norm, it starts to become normal. And when skipping days, giving up on your goals starts to become normal, well, it's going to be very hard to achieve anything in life when giving up or quitting or taking a day off is okay, when that's normal. We don't want that to be normal. We don't want that to be okay. And you're not holding yourself to that standard that you set for yourself. Good luck achieving anything when you're not showing up and at least getting your non-negotiables done and holding yourself to your standard. And everybody's standard is going to look different. Like, don't try to compare your standard to mine. I'm not going to compare mine to yours. It's going to look different depending on who you are, what your goal is, all that. All the things is going to look different. Whatever. So don't try to compare your standards to somebody else. Don't try to, do what I do because it may not work for you. You have to do what's right for you. So remember that. So I want to challenge y'all today. Write down your go back to your notes. We were just talking about, write down your non-negotiables, your standard, your goals, write it all down. Put it all out there. Brainstorm, just put everything down on a piece of paper or on your note, whatever. Get it all out there so you can see it visibly. You can see it. And this will help you, start putting things together. Start putting the pieces together. Screenshot it if you have to. Put it as the screensaver on your phone if you have to, so you see it every day, so you're reminded of it every time you look in your phone. That's a good little hack. Also, read it every morning. Read over this note that you made every single morning, because it's going to put that into your head. It's going to remind you, okay, what's my goal? It's going to remind you your goal. It's going to remind you your standard. It's going to remind you your non-negotiables. And this will help. It's kind of like a little mental hack, like a little strategy you can use. So I challenge you to do that. It really works. I know it kind of seems, all, I guess, taboo. Is that the word? It seems weird, woo-woo and all that. But it kind of works. It's kind of like manifestation. So yeah, try it out. It may help. It may not. It's worth a shot. It's not going to hurt you. So you might as well give it a shot. Look over it every day. Read it. Adjust it as time goes. So yeah, that's all I did. I had a standard for myself this week that I only allow myself to miss one day a week. And I missed 2. So what I do, I shifted my schedule around and I made it up on Sunday. So that way I held myself to my standard, because that's what I set for myself. And that's how you stay confident in yourself and your own goals, and stay confident in what you say you're going to do. And that's how you ultimately become successful at whatever it is that you're trying to achieve. So yeah, if y'all like the podcast, share it with somebody. Send it to somebody that may have been slacking lately or something, and you want to hold them accountable. Send this podcast to it. I appreciate it. Leave a review on the podcast, a comment, 5 stars, whatever you got to do. Subscribe if you're on YouTube, wherever you're listening at. I really appreciate it. We're about to get to 200 episodes here soon. So y'all let me know in the comments or wherever if y'all got an idea I can do for episode 200, because that's a big milestone that we're going to hit. So yeah, thank y'all so much for tuning in. I hope you have a great week. Y'all keep doing y'all's thing. Get after your goals this week. All the sayings that I always say. Y'all have a great day. Peace, love, protein. We out.